Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Higher Moment Mastermind. I am Shira Lotzar, happy to be hosting, joined by my colleagues Vern Schellinger and Eve Dara Wong, and Alki will be joining us soon. And so, as per our normal routine this last month or more, we are now kind of in a new phase of providing two opportunities for all of you to engage with us. So we're going to be keeping this a main room here for open Q&A, regular job search questions. And then I'm going to be creating a breakout room where Vern and Eve are going to be leading a conversation around networking, both networking tips as well as actually engaging you all in networking with each other. So what will happen is I'm going to create these rooms, and if anybody would like to join the breakout room, hit the join button. If you do not want to join the networking room, don't hit the join button and you'll stay in the main room. Okay, so let me just provide that option for you. It'll be the breakout room will be for 45 minutes, and then you'll come back in here for those of you who are networking, and you can join the rest of our group. Okay, so looks like we have a fairly small crowd so far. So whoever joins the networking will probably have some very good networking because you'll be able to kind of get right in it, and otherwise feel free to stay in the room here, right? So here we go. All right. Okay, good. All right, so we have the four of us here. Love to help you out with your job search questions. So who would like to kick us off?
Jura, can I go back to the networking meeting group? I
Yeah,
accidentally
you
came back to
accidentally.
the yes.
No,
Thank you so much.
no worries. Let me just push you back. You know what? It's your, let me see here. You know, it looks like you're just there. I'm not sure how to get you to go back. Uh, you know what? I'm not, you're just in my list here saying that you've not joined. You're on mute. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't help you with figuring out how to get back over there.
It's okay.
I'll Google it and see if we can find a solution here.
Okay, thanks. Um, it looks like Vern and Eve are there by themselves. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to myself just quickly go over there and just have them come back for now.
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back. Hey,
But who know?
hey guys, so Carol was supposed to be in your room and then like accidentally bounced herself out. I can't get her back, but I thought maybe we'll just bring you all back because it's just Mark.
Small group?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's just go. Let's just go back.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
Okay,
fine. That
thanks.
works.
Okay, bye. Okay, so they're coming back in. So we'll just have a small group today. All right, so going back to the beginning. All right, who has a job search question they'd like to talk about? And we can also certainly go back to networking and kind of make it a little more, blended today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With networking in particular, I'm trying to right now, my background is in healthcare and I'm also exploring higher education for project coordinating and management. And so I am trying to build my network and I'm trying to contact people over LinkedIn. So I do the cold contact and usually I don't ever hear back.
Right.
And so I've been attending networking meetings in person, and so that's been more way effective than using LinkedIn because not everybody checks LinkedIn, and then I haven't met them in person, so less chances that they'll respond back to me. And then, so what is your suggestion? I'm trying to build more connections, particularly with the people in higher education. That's a newer industry to me, so I don't really have any connections there. And so I did try the LinkedIn approach, but sending messages, but then it didn't really amount to too much responses back. So should I go on campus and get to know the people, or how should I go about that? Because I'm not sure exactly which meetings that they have that they attend on a regular basis, or I can look up like professional associations for that university and see if they have any meetings there. But how do I go about networking with a particular set of people?
So this is a very good question and a very big question that I think everybody on this call could benefit from, Carol. So thanks for teeing it up. So if it's okay, I'm going to start high level with the concept of what you're, because there's a framework to what you're talking about. Okay. You think it's like, oh, it's just getting a higher, actually, it's a larger thing. The larger concept here is that, in fact, I'll go way high level. I've shared on this call before. I have a branding concept. I call it lane versus community. Okay, lane versus community. Your lane is what you do. Your community is who you do it for. So your lane is your profession. Like, for example, you're an HR, you're an accountant, you're a marketer, customer service, right? You do a thing. It's your title. Your community is the industry, mission, or sector. Employers think that way when they're hiring people. Employers are risk averse. They want someone who can slide into home base with no ramp up time. So when they are hiring, in general, they want someone who's done the thing in the lane and comes from the community. So let's just level set with that. That's just the way that it is. 98% of the time, couple percentage of the time, they actually want a fresh perspective. Maybe they want someone outside the sector. It's rare, but it does happen. When anybody is trying to make a career pivot, first of all, it's difficult. You know that, right? You're finding that out. And that's why it's difficult, because of the risk aversion. But if you're going to do it, it is best to shift either your lane or your community, not both. Shifting both is incredibly risk averse, risk making for the employer. So if you're going to do it, do one or the other, not both. Just to give you a quick example, I always share this story. Years ago, I was coaching somebody who was an attorney. He decided he wanted to become a recovering attorney, and he, right, he wanted to leave it. And he decided he wanted to become a writer. Like, how do you turn an attorney into a writer? Well, we looked at that his lane, right? He wanted to change it. So we looked at his resume, and of course, right, attorneys do a lot of writing, right? So we just reframed his resume with all the writing stuff he had done, changed his LinkedIn profile to talk about why he likes to write and edit and all the things. He got hired as a journalist, same lane, or different lane, with a legal trade publication, same community, different lane, same community. And now he's an English teacher. Okay. So my point is that the employer felt like, oh, legal, right? He gets the legal thing, our sector, but we were willing to give him a shot to change the lane. Now, that's one high level piece. Second piece, to actually more address what you're talking about. Every sector is like a fish pond. The fishies sort of swim together. Yes, they swim within associations. Absolutely. Membership associations, what we call individual membership associations, where they have, the professional kind of get together. Sometimes it's a trade association where it's an industry getting together. You're absolutely right. They do that. And in the higher ed world, that's a whole ecosystem unto itself. Which, yes, you can try to plug into. But what I would suggest, though, is that with networking, and I know Vern and Alki and Eve would concur, it's all about relationships. Period end. Period end. It is relationships. So when you're trying to go and into this new fish pond, you got to try to find your fish, the people who know you and love you and trust you, might be connected to that fish pond. Your fish might be in a different pond, but there's some little tributary there that they can connect you to. That's where actually LinkedIn comes into play. If you can go into LinkedIn and you go into the search bar and you type in whatever it is you're looking for, just even put in higher education, hit enter. Then hit first level. first of all, you can see, do you happen to have anybody in your first level contacts? Okay. And if you don't, that's all right. But if you hit enter and you see a bunch of second levels, Carol, the fact that you have any second levels means you necessarily have mutual first level connections. Those are the people who can broker introductions. That is your ticket in. It's not about reaching out cold to strangers necessarily, because you're right, most people don't respond back. It's reaching out to your first level fishies and saying, can you connect me to the second level fishies? Actually, would you broker an introduction? Now, to the extent that you have a good relationship, a trusted relationship with your first level connection, they're more likely to help you. That's the way it works. It's all, LinkedIn is just a database. Relationship roles still apply. So if you can literally have somebody say, hey, you're like, Susie Cream Cheese really well, and she's in some other sector, but she knows Bob in higher ed. You know Susie well enough. If Susie knows Bob, that's your best bet. And then hopefully she can broker an informational interview, or, some sort of connection. But then also, as you're doing that, then you can say, oh, so Bob, what networking groups are you part of? Where can I plug in? And then you start to build an ecosystem. So for example, years ago, I was working with a couple of people who wanted to go into the environmental nonprofit sector. That's has been a very popular sector for people want to go into. And there was this woman, Jen, I was working with, and she was like from corporate, like nothing to do with it. Well, she found different networking groups, like the women's environmental something we see group local. And she plugged in locally and she started networking and meeting people and all the things. And she went into their fish pond. And that's really what you're looking for. And LinkedIn is a good way to help you make those connections by figuring out who of your people know the people that are there. Okay, so that's my little speech. Obviously, I'll turn this over to Eve and Alki and Vern.
And Carol, if you go into your fish pond and connect with me, I have 35 years in higher education.
So there you go.
So let me start connecting you with some of the resources we use in higher ed. Let me start understanding a little bit more about your background. Obviously, we need to have a coffee chat, and then see if I can't start putting you in touch with the right people.
That's how it works.
No.
It looks like you're in Houston, and I can probably start showing you some places, possibly with Cleveland Clinic or university hospitals here, knowing that you have your background. So let's set up a coffee chat.
Yeah.
Should I contact you over LinkedIn, or do you have a email that you want me to email you?
I'll drop it in the chat for you.
Thank you.
And a couple of other things related to not only Carol's situation, but everybody's situation. In the job search, obviously, you know what your objective is, to get connected to people and hopefully get connected to someone who knows about a job or can refer you to a job opening. And then you've got to apply and get to the interview stage. A lot of this networking depends on the strength of your relationship. And so, Carol, as you said, you go to LinkedIn and you message people and you never hear from them. And you never hear from them because they don't really know you. You're just a name in LinkedIn. But if you reached out to someone on LinkedIn who you've got a strong relationship with they will certainly get back to you. Or they should, because again, the relationship is that strong. I mean, Shira, Eve, Elke, and I know people in our networks. If I reach out to them, I know if I reach out to Shira, I know Shira is going to get back to me,
Right.
or if she reaches out to me.
Right.
So think about not only for your job search process, but networking in general. Just think about how do you develop that strength of the relationship. And at Contacts Count, we kind of make it as simple as possible. Think about networking as teaching and giving. So the more you teach others about who you are, which basically is what you're doing in the whole job search. You're teaching people who I am, what I can do, and hopefully they're going to connect you to an opportunity. So that's pretty clear on your part, but make sure in those situations that you learn as much as you can about the other person so that maybe you can help them in some way.
That's right.
Um, People appreciate that. They begin to trust you. They begin to know who you are as a person. So
And
keep that in mind.
and something else along those lines, Carol, is especially when you're trying to move into another community, particularly, that community always has business challenges, organizational challenges, sectoral challenges. To the extent that you can figure out what types of challenges you want to help them solve and figure out your real why for getting into that community, that can be really helpful not only in your networking, but actually, if I can even say this, in thought leadership. I've had people and I coach people to plug into a new community and say, look, I really care about XYZ. For example, years ago, worked with a woman and she wanted to get into, she was a web designer, like UX, UI, all this stuff. She decided she wanted to get into web accessibility, like making, right, the web accessible for people with disabilities. Well, I encouraged her to do a LinkedIn post. She did a research on it and she did a whole like long blog thing. Somebody saw her on that post and reached out to her and eventually hired her because she was plugging in and saying, this is the problem. This is the challenge that I want to help people solve. So think about it in the whole higher ed landscape. Why higher ed for you? What is it what problems are you trying to solve? So Eve, for example, was in like the registrar kind of area. She knows that part of the fish pond very well. She probably has a thing or two or three to say about that piece, right? You might have something to say about another piece. So what is it you're trying to say and figure out what are the current challenges? And then you can make your networking even more specific. You're not just looking higher ed. It's some area in it. Then you can focus your networking, meetup groups, thought leadership, all of the things that you're like really focused in on. This is my why, and this is these are the problems I'm trying to solve. Is that helpful?
Thank you so much. Yes, it is very helpful. Thanks.
Yes. Hope it's helpful to everybody on this call because right I think there's a lot of transferability to people. All right, Josh, you have been waiting patiently.
Thank you guys. So I just have a question around, I guess, the state of AI in recruiting, but also from our side of things when we're applying. Some of the main questions I want to know around that are um, how are recruiters using AI in general? Another one is, does it hurt for most companies anyways? Maybe I'm sure it depends, but in general, does it hurt to use AI or is there like certain use cases like, yeah, you probably shouldn't, it's okay to use it here? And then any other insights that you guys have around that? Thanks.
This is a moving target, as you might imagine, right? So nobody's got all the wisdom on this. We're all kind of figuring it out. From my lens, and happy to hear from my colleagues, this is generally what I'm seeing in the corporate world, particularly larger companies. They're leaning into it. But I would say that there's kind of this dissonance going on because on the one hand, you've got companies, larger companies that have full recruiting teams and right, they're using AI to vet, the resume and in addition to the applicant tracking system, like vet, right? And so all the more we always used to say, oh, you have to have, your keywords have to be right on. They really have to be right, So that's the one hand. On the other hand, there are some companies, ironically, that are saying, no, we don't want any resumes to be, written by AI, and we're going to vet them, screen them out. But here they are using AI themselves. It's very complicated and confusing, and it's wild, wild west. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know if anybody can give you full use cases around which, what, how, because recruiters and employers are figuring it out.
I think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, well, actually, so one quick thing. Now, as far as using it, right? I mean, I now use it when I'm coaching people and doing resumes. It's particularly helpful when it comes to the keyword matching. So when you look at that job description and you look at your resume and you upload it and you ask it and you really give it a strategic prompt, not a generic, and let me say this slowly. Don't just generically say, AI, please customize my resume for the job posting. Nope. You've got to prompt it. You've got to really analyze that thing and help it focus in a direction. So a few months ago, I was working with somebody, she's in a communications field, and the job she was applying for had I noticed, she didn't even notice this. I noticed that it had like 3 or 4 bullets all around media relations. Like that was a main focus of the job posting, but she didn't notice it because she likes marketing. And so her eyes were not geared toward the media side. And I'm like, look at that. She's like, oh, I didn't see that. That's normal, by the way. Human nature, we miss stuff. You gotta really, really read the posting. So I said, since she was interested, I'm like, okay, take her stories, find the media relation angle, pull that out, and make sure that that is really highlighted. And it did it, but it had to be a strategic prompt because we had to look at it, analyze it, and tell it what to do. Does that make sense? So I would say, sure, use it. Who knows what recruiter is using what, how they're looking. And then one other last thing I'll say before I pass it to Eve is that my experience is that small organizations are not, right? Small organizations that don't have a full-time recruiter, barely have an HR person, they're reading regular resumes, they're not going to have the know-how at this point to necessarily use an AI tool or even pay for one, right? To vet resumes. It's still going to be an eyeball screen, which all the more means, again, if you're going to use AI for your resume, make sure that it is lined up. That's my April 2026 lens on the whole thing. So Eve?
What I'm hearing though is people are taking that job description, dropping it in AI, and then the recruiters are getting 4 or 5 applicants that have all the same.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you're crafting.
Mm-hmm.
So craft it yourself, maybe do the prompts, and I'm not an AI wizard, okay? But maybe take that job description, or as Shira said, have somebody help you find those keywords, and then try to craft something yourself, then drop it into AI to refine it.
Yeah.
But it's your words.
Your words.
It's not the computer's words.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
besides, what your
I mean,
stories are going to be, your stories are going to be unique anyway to yourself. So in that way, it'll be, unique. Yeah.
Yeah, one more piece of advice on AI, and it's maybe a follow-up to what Eve was saying. I recently took an in-depth 6 to 8 week course in storytelling, and all of the stories that I was writing started with an AI prompt. The woman who taught this course created the AI prompt, but she was adamant that AI will only get you 60 to 70% of the way there. And you need to really look at that and edit it and change it so that the human factor is in that story. Because, a generic story is a generic story. It could apply to a whole bunch of people, right? You've got to make sure it really it applied to me and my experiences and that type of thing. So, when you're looking at the job description and you're looking at your resume, again, can AI help you figure out where the real connections are between what the job is looking for and what your skills are? Yes. And it'll spit out, information for you. But then really look at that and really try to edit it, tweak it, so that any communications you have with the employer really, is emphasizing your unique skills and abilities.
But then there's a whole other. Oh, sorry, Alki.
There's more in my brain that I'm going to use to answer, but there's a lot of sides to this coin, as Shira said. I often go to the casino model. You can walk into a casino. Some people play the slots. Some people play blackjack. Some people are just there, to have a good time. I'm not a gambler like that, but some people are just there to have a good time. They're going to explore and see what works, where there's fun. Some people have intentions on certain things. Some people have certain methods. They do this often. Some people come in and go to the same thing every time because it's worked for them sometimes in the past. There's the resume part of AI, and then there's the interview and the whole interview process. The resume gets you a look, maybe gets you in the door. And some people work really, really, really hard plugging all kinds of things into AI to try to beat the system or get seen or whatever the case is. And sometimes they get the interview only to find out that job description is a 5-year job description they've been using that hasn't even been updated for the role that they're using. You've done all this work just to get your resume to match. So using AI for resumes, somebody posted on LinkedIn, a recruiter posted the other day, he was talking about AI. He said several things. One of the things he finished with was, I didn't really agree with this statement, but I agreed with his overall. He said, there are no AI resumes. I didn't really agree with that because you can create an AI resume, but the part he said at the end is what matters. He said, at the end of the day, you need to be prepared to speak to, I say this all the time, speak to and defend, my word, every centimeter of your resume. Bullet point, question mark, period, words, figures, data, titles, gaps. You need to be prepared when you get an interview, no matter what got you in the door, if that AI resume or AI prompts and plugging in gets you the interview. You have to speak to and be prepared for where they're going to take you in an interview process. To Eve's point, what if they have two people apply who both used AI in different ways and they throw you a trick or a curveball at the end? So yeah, there's, you can use, like if, I don't know, some engineer role, and they've got a really thick, in-depth job description with various parts, and you're like, wow, I think I've done this, but I don't know how to write that in words. Sure, you can get some help on, how to plug and play, how to write some things, but you better, as a recruiter, I'm telling you, when you sit in front of me, the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at your resume, see what jumps out at me, see what questions I want to ask, see what things matched what we're looking for, and I'm going in. I'm going in with my questions to pick apart everything that's there before I move you to the next round. So sure, use it as a tool if you want to, but similar to the casino, there are no guarantees. If you play, are you going, are you going to win? How much are you going to win? Who's going to pick you and who's not? So just be mindful of that as you use this tool.
And then there's the larger concept here, and that is that these days, the stat is only 2 to 3% of online applications result in a hire. So it's not about the job boards. So I know we talk about resumes and customizing and all the things. Yes, might feel free to do that, but that presumes that you're applying to an online job board. Whereas if you network your way into the job, then it's often your reputation and relationship shows up before your resume, in which case the resume isn't really the main factor. It's not about the keyboard, it's somebody referring you in. So yes, keep doing it. It's fine. We can, take the tips that we've given you, but really, 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 you got to try to find the person who can champion you, whether it's through their hidden job market, whether the job is not even posted, which is a whole bunch of jobs out there, they're not posted. If the job is posted, again, use LinkedIn, put the name of the organization, see who works there. Do you have a second level connection with a first level mutual contact who can get you referred? All those things, super, super, super important. And then the resume is much less needed. It's much more about relationship.
That makes sense. Yeah, thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. One quick thing that somebody taught me about the AI thing too, that I'll share for everybody else. If you do take something out of AI, copy it and paste it into an email, you don't want to do that because it has I'm not technical, so the script or whatever. So you want to just make sure you paste that in plain text or put it in Notepad or something so it gets rid of the background stuff that helps the recruiters not know it's AI or whatnot, and then edit it from there, obviously. But yeah, thanks, guys.
All these little tips and tricks. All right, Carol and then Aaron.
Yes, I had something to add to what Joshua's question was, for AI. I use AI to enhance and my cover letters and resume. Enhance meaning that I check it for accuracy and make sure whatever errors it spits out, I correct it. And then whenever you copy paste from AI, make sure that, yes, you want to get rid of all the extra script stuff. And so I usually save it into a PDF file because in a PDF file, everything else related with the AI, like knowing that it came from AI tends to get dropped. So I recently found a part-time job through networking. So yes, networking is way higher than just applying online.
Yep.
So
Yep. I think most people these days would have that story, Carol. If you really start asking people, how did you get your job? Usually there's another person involved. Erin?
Yeah, hi, Shira and friends. Good morning. Grateful for this space as always. I find these days I'm really struggling with my confidence, especially because I had an interview maybe a couple weeks ago and I was kind of hopeful, cautiously optimistic. I had two referrals, people who recommended me, and I didn't make it past the first round. Even though I think it was probably you had to do a technical test
Mm.
and it had to do with like data analysis in Excel. And I was like, oh, this is not my thing. So could have been the test that kicked me out. I'm not sure. And I did write to ask for feedback, and we'll see. And I might write a couple more times, see if I get any feedback. But yeah, so now I've been unemployed, well, completely unemployed for about 9 months, and I lost my like full-time UN job about a year and a half ago. Um, and I'm in global health, international development. The sector, as we know, has been devastated, lots of competition in the DC, DMV area. So I'm also like, okay, how much longer can I keep going trying to do all the things we talk about, like networking, my resume, my LinkedIn, I also find I'm applying for a lot fewer jobs and I'm talking myself out of a lot of jobs. Like I'll look at a job. I looked at one the other day and it was the day of the deadline and I was like, I know I could do this. I would be good at it, but I feel like I don't have a chance, especially because I don't know anybody. Um, and I think, yeah, is it time, I know this is such an individual thing, but at what point do I say, okay, I give up on this sector. I have to do something else. And at the same time, I feel like I really strongly believe women shouldn't die in childbirth and baby, like whether it's in this country because they're poor or they're a woman of color or overseas. So I don't want to give up on that, but it's just so hard and stressful.
So a thought, Erin. First of all, we all on this call appreciate what you're going through. For those who are in similar situations, and certainly we know so many people, right? So big hug. Let's just acknowledge that. And employers hire to solve their organizational challenges or their sectoral challenges. You just brought up a very specific and unique challenge, a societal global challenge. I want to encourage you and everybody on this call to really, 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 really put yourself in the shoes of the employer, not your own shoes, their shoes, when you are thinking about your search. Erin, I know you said, oh, should I just give it up and go elsewhere? It's actually the opposite. You need to lean in harder to your community because there are people out there who actually need your superpowers, your talent, your wisdom, your strategy. To go back to the fishing analogy, you are tasty bait for somebody. Now, you may not be fishing in a salmon farm where all the salmon are like clustered together. You might be out in the middle of the ocean where you're looking for that little, whatever, tilapia, I don't know, whoever, right? But you are tasty bait for somebody. My recommendation is to lean in and zero in and get creative. Where are those people? They may not be a DC-based NGO. They may be a nonprofit in some other country who wants to hire somebody who's a former UN aid kind of person. Okay. But the problem you're talking about still exists. In fact, probably exists more now. who is out there solving that problem. You make a beeline for those people anywhere they are and get really creative, hunt for them. Don't just wait for the jobs to come open. You're right, tons of competition. Whenever an employer puts out a job board, a job posting, they are now saying to the whole wide world, come and get it, and all the fishies swim. When there is no job posting, just an organization minding their own business, trying to figure it out. And someone like Erin swims up to their shore and says, hey, I'm tasty bait for you. I can help you solve this. Like, really? Who are you? Oh, wait, what? Tell me more. They might be able to create an opportunity for you. They might have had an opportunity in the back of their mind, like, oh, we were trying to think, and then Erin showed up. Here she is. Maybe they even have an opening, but they haven't posted it publicly. They don't even know where to post it publicly. They don't want to get overwhelmed. So it's what we call the hidden job market. And you come at the right time. But you are a heat-seeking missile. You are really, to mix metaphors, you are trying your best to go find these people, not just wait for it to come to you. And I'll just share that myself and Vernon and Alki, we're all in business for ourselves. Okay. We do this all the time. We are networking all day long, all kinds of individuals. And we are finding opportunities to help people. I just recently, few weeks ago, I just finished a culture. I do lots of things. I'm not just coach recruiter. I do other organizational things. And I just finished a culture retreat with a trade association. How did that happen? Well, because in the course of my networking, I became friendly with this woman named Melissa, who's the CEO of this trade association. I saw her at a networking event. I said, hey, let's have lunch. We had lunch. I said, hey, Melissa, what's going on? What's keeping you up? And sure enough, there was this thing with her culture. I'm like, oh, I said, I can help you. There was no RFP. There was no, Shira, can you help? No, I said to her, oh, I think I can help. She goes, oh, okay. I landed this opportunity. But that was me swimming with the right fish, figuring out what kind of problems she had that were in my wheelhouse and offering myself to her as tasty bait and saying, hey, could you benefit from some support? She's like, yeah, same with you. Fine. Mine was a gig. Yours is a full-time job, but it's the same thing. The employers still have challenges. And they may or may not know where to go, how to fill it. Should I fill it with a full-time person, a part-time person, a fractional person, give the assignment to somebody internal? They're always trying to figure out capacity. They're always trying to figure out staffing. Do we insource this? Do we outsource this? How do we fix the problem? And Erin, if you swim alongside and go, hey, I can solve the problem. Can we do something together? Even if it is, Erin, on a consulting basis, project basis, fractional basis, get creative. Don't just be thinking about, for all the people on this call, don't just be thinking about traditional full-time work. A lot of employers don't have capacity for a 40-hour-a-week full-time employee. But they do have the problem and they do want it solved, and maybe they can hire you on a project basis, consulting basis, whatever. Short period, you get to help them, they get to help you, like it's right, mutual benefit. But open your mind, widen your aperture around what income generation means. It's not always full-time employment, but there's still problems that can be solved, and you have unique superpowers that can help them solve it. That makes sense.
I want to emphasize what
Thank
Shira
you
said
so much.
about,
Yeah.
but I want to emphasize what Shira said about a project basis or part-time or something like that. Think about the difference between interviewing. You're telling me you have all of these skills, but I still don't really know if you have these skills, right? But if you work on a project,
Yeah,
you work on a part-time basis,
yeah,
I see your skills.
that's right.
I understand who you are as a person. I can see your communication ability. I can see your innovative ideas. That goes a long way to help you get recognized as someone who's a quality person, a quality employee. You're good at what you do. So, yeah.
It's a
Really
work
good point.
sample.
Thanks.
It's a work sample. Shira was talking about sales, and I've shifted my language a lot. with job seekers and candidates to, and we all talk about this, is I talk a lot about going from job seeker to salesperson. So
Mhm.
from seeker to seller, because you're this market that we're in, it's crowded. There's uh, a lot of phone calls and emails, people applying, sending resumes. They're overloading the companies, the employers, the job boards. They're overloaded. Sometimes they have opportunities, sometimes they don't. And so the breath of fresh air is who looks different, who's going about this differently, or no, I've told you 12 times, we don't have a full-time role for you. You're still telling me that you want to help and you can help. Okay, what can you offer? And you, oh, you don't require a full-time position. There's other opportunities that are happening. And even that word opportunity, a lot of times I remind people, yeah, you can look for a job, but really we're talking about opportunities. You want an opportunity to meet someone, an opportunity to present yourself, an opportunity to get 5 minutes with someone. I just spoke to an employer week before last because of looking for some special work in a nonprofit for someone. And I spoke to a nonprofit CEO who said, yeah, at this time, we do hire people like that from time to time, but at this point, we don't have anyone. But if they'd be willing to volunteer, we usually hire a lot of our volunteers.
Right.
Well, they've gotten familiar with those people, they've built trust, they know the work, they know the organization. Not everybody on this call has time to volunteer. I get it. But the point is we hire a lot of times from our community, from our space, people that we know, people who know our business. And so if you can build trust that way or have the time in between your job search, even if you're working somewhere else and you're thinking, I'd like to work for that organization, or I'm thinking of transition. We were talking about this earlier too. You talk about career transition. That definitely needs to be on your to-do list. Is find some organization or Shira talked about networking groups or associations you can join. Find some kind of way to link into that community so you can start dressing like them, smelling like them, looking like them, so that when you walk through the door for an opportunity, they can go, oh yeah, we know her. She's one of us. He's one of us.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate the practical tips and, encouragement and also the advice to not walk away, like just keep trying,
No,
keep going, lean in, keep swimming.
just keep swimming.
I love the analogies like the heat-seeking missile and
Mm,
tasty bait and stuff. Never thought of myself as tasty bait, but
yep,
thank
we
you
all are.
for
You got
all
to think
that.
outside the box. You got to think outside of resume and job boards
Yeah.
and mesh with this world and this climate right now. Things are happening. We're all seeing it every day. Companies that we never thought would fold or sell out things or participate in AI or do other things, they're all doing it now just to try to keep up. And so the job seeker world has to evolve as well. Where you before wouldn't just walk into a CEO's office and go, hi, my name is. Now you might need to. You may need to just email the CEO, just skip HR, skip the job process, send an email just going, hi, my name is, just wanted to meet you. Boom. You never know what can happen.
I had a coaching client. I
Yeah.
have an early career coaching client who did this. He's in the commercial real estate world, and he was in like a tenant relations, something like that. Anyway, he wanted to go into asset management. He found this company in Texas that he researched and thought they were great. Wrote to the CEO this beautiful letter out of the blue. There was no job, whatever. Told him why he was impressed with them, all these things. Even offered to work for them for 3 months for free, if you can believe it. But anyway, he did this whole note. They reached out to him. They turns out they actually had an opening. They interviewed him. He was so impressive and so leaned into them as an organization, they hired him. And he just started a few weeks ago. Road not traveled, actually. Really, really going and figuring out the creative way to stand out and say, I want you. And the other analogy we always use is dating. Okay. Right? It is job search is like dating. I mean, you're really trying to say, are we going to get married? Which means you have to have an interest in them, not just have them have an interest in you. Show why you are interested in them, not just that they're a person, but there's something attractive about them. Let them know why you, and then you can ask for the ring. Yeah,
Thanks so much, everybody.
sure. All right, Carol.
I just want to say for Erin, you have a lot to offer. You have gifts, skills, and talents that are waiting to be found. It's just that it's a hard market right now, and you're not the only one who's facing that. Like, yes, there are days when I'm like, should I even continue applying for this company? They keep on rejecting me. I don't know why they keep on rejecting me, but I'm gonna still apply because it's like the worst they can say is no, and they haven't told me formally to stop applying with us. And so, keep going. And my job search is actually more than a year and a half. So I recently took on a part-time role. And so just keep going and do what, your heart's desire is, like that you really want to do for work. Just keep go at it.
That's so kind and encouraging. Thank you so much, Carol. And I wish you all the best in finding your dream role too. Thanks a lot for your support.
That's why we're here. Great. This has been good. This has been good. Any other thoughts? Josh.
Try to make it quick. This has been a good conversation so far, so thank you guys. Another question I have around networking. I've done a few networking calls with my company. I work at a fitness corporation here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and so I've learned that it's good to try to give value back to the other person you're talking with. I struggle with that just because I'm trying to think like, how can I give them something? Some of the things that I found in the last couple of weeks is maybe referring other people, or maybe it's like an article. But I'm still trying to think of other things, also trying to figure out if I can give those things to begin with. But what are some other things that I can think of in that call to maybe offer and try to give other folks to give value to them?
Well, advice. If there's anything you can literally just brainstorm with, be a thought partner to them, even on the call, there might be some little thing that they say that you're like, oh, wait, I have some experience in that. Hey, I have a thought around that. Hey, have you ever considered, and like just to brainstorm with them about something that you have, advice on is very helpful. And you mentioned articles, you mentioned people, sometimes it's websites, or books. I'll be on a call with somebody and they'll say something like, hey, wait a second, I read something. Wait, here's a website for you. You may want to check. Oh, so-and-so's having a conference. Oh, wait, there's a book. There's a consultant. Anything that you can think of. Even sometimes I'll be on a networking call. As the person's having the challenge, I'm Googling. I'm like, right? I'm like, hey, wait, I just found blah, 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 blah. Send them a thing, just be as helpful as you can be in the way that you can be. I mean, if it's completely outside your wheelhouse, no. But if there's something about it that you're like, wait a second, I think I can help. Hey, a lot of people don't even recognize how much just search engines and AI can help them because they're thinking in their head, but there's a lot of information out there that you can offer. So yeah, just be creative.
One of the easiest things everybody can do, even in your job search, but networking too, is simply ask the question, in what ways can I help you?
Yeah.
What ways can I help you guys? Or is there anything that I can do that helps you with your business? Is there anything that I can do that helps you with your job search? Is there anything that I can do that can help you with this event that comes up? Or, hey, I'm in XYZ arena, which, from the conversation or whatever the topic is about, you find that thing in your world that is close to it or similar. And you're like, hey, well, I come across these types of people all the time. Let me know if I can ever be a resource for you, if I can ever, share these folks with you. I'll tell you this as a recruiter. Let's forget recruiting for a second, just regular life. We all have people or strangers who are like, gimme, 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 gimme. Every time, you see them, they're asking for something. We know what we think sometimes about those people. Then there's people who are generous. And those a lot of times are the people that we're happy to see coming and welcome and open the door, because we know they can give something back and not just take. Sure, if the relationship is you giving all the time and the other person taking, that's what it is. But if you add that to your job search, just to life in general, we all talk about sowing and reaping, the golden rule. You look out for other people, it'll come back to you. companies and employers love people like that. Fellow job seekers and businesses, people love people like that. And I've had times where I love talking to candidates who tell me like, oh, okay, this looks like it's not the right opportunity, but listen, I think I got it, guy. Let me make a phone call or two. Or, wow, you guys got that event coming up. I'm going to tell my mom about that because she loves you guys. Like when the job search interview goes to a conversation and to, wow, this could be a new contact or somebody to add, all kinds of positive things come out of that. So that's something really simple you can do is simply just asking the question, hey, how can I help you? Or let me know if I can ever be a help to you, a resource to you.
And along those lines, since we're pulling that thread of helping people, and I know we don't have time to get back into our whole interviewing conversation, but let me just say one thing about that. We've just been speaking about networking and like, being the bait, right? And being on the hook. But to reel that fish in, right? You have to make sure that in that interview, you are focused on their challenges. It's not about your experience, it's about your solutions to their challenges. And most people miss this. Most job seekers are thinking, oh, I've got to have my stories. And yes, you do have to have your story, but not just any stories. It's the stories that align to their challenges. It's your questions that are asking about their challenges. It's brainstorming with them in the interview about their challenges. It's all about, in that moment, it's about them. Yes, it's about you, of course, your career goals and salary. Yes, yes, yes. You're the other side of the equation. But when it comes to you being tasty bait in the interview, always, always, always focus on them. That's my high level. The whole conversation, it's all about the other person.
I put something semi-dyslexic in the chat, but because I didn't want to speak again after you, but to go with that's how you're thinking through an interview. And I was just thinking of the easiest trap question, which is, so tell us about yourself. What Shira just said has to ring through the entire interview. Yeah, they want to get to meet you. They're there to interrogate you, to examine you, to analyze you. That doesn't have to control your answers. Your answers need to be, yeah, I'm 6'2", but because I'm 6'2", I can reach shelves quicker than anybody else you have on your staff right now. That needs to be the thinking is, yeah, I'm going to tell you about me, but telling you about
As
me
it relates to
how
you.
I can help you guys better do what you do. So at the end of the day, they're like, you're just not going to talk about yourself, are you? You're always bring it back to us. Yep, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you.
There's
That's
a
what you're there
difference.
for.
There is a difference between someone asking you, hey, tell me about yourself in a Starbucks coffee chat of a person you just met in the grocery store who's like just curious about your background. Sure, tell them whatever you want. Versus tell me about yourself, ... What I really mean by that is why you, why us, why now? How can you help us solve our business challenges? Why are you sitting in that interview seat? Why should we consider you versus anybody else? That's what they're looking for.
Awesome.
How does your
Thank you, guys.
story fit our story? What
right.
about your story is
Mhm.
interesting or applies to us or helps us?
That's right. It's a date. It's a date. Make the marriage.
Thank you, guys.
For sure. All right. Anything else before we wrap up? Eve, anything from your side that you want to chime in on that we've talked about today? Anything else?
No, I can't help laughing at what Aaron posted because I'm only 4'11", so
True.
yes, I need Alki coming through.
Yeah, and people are so kind to help.
The only other thing I was going to say earlier is if you are at an in-person event, don't hesitate to offer to help clean up. These event organizers, they're tired by the end, everybody scoots.
Yeah.
What a great time to get to know some people on a little bit different level.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for things to offer back to somebody, that would be a great way to do it as well.
Completely. Be helpful. Yeah. Alki says be human. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Volunteering goes a long way. All right, friends. Good conversation today. And as per usual, I mean, I usually forget to put this in the chat, but I'm trying to remember more now. The videos from our sessions are on this page of my website, and goes all the way back to August of 2020 when we started this illustrious little group in the beginning of COVID. So feel free to avail yourself, all kinds of wisdom in that on those sessions. All right, guys, so I'm going to formally stop the recording. And for those of you who would like to stay on for a short prayer call, love to have you, and look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks.
Bye, everyone. Happy hunting.
Thanks.
Thanks.